Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I wanted to start today's discussion off with a story. And so the story goes that there is a Catholic priest, goes to a bar, he orders a drink, and the bartender asks him what he wants. He says he wants a whiskey. And so the bartender gives him the whiskey, and then before he knows it, they're going down good. The priest has drank 5 or 6 of these, and he's really, really feeling it. And a woman comes up and talks to him. They hit it off. Anyway, she invites him back to her place. He goes back. They are intimate. Then the woman's husband comes home and surprises them, and the priest accidentally kills the woman's husband because he's startled, and he's arrested and sent to prison. So what does this mean? It's not really about anything regarding the priest. It's not anything really regarding drinking either. This isn't a cautionary tale against alcohol either. What is it? It's a cautionary tale that overindulgence is just the start. And also often one sin leads to another sin, leads to another sin, leads to another sin. And so we have to be very careful. It's not that you can't have indulgences. It is that you have to be mindful of getting overindulgent. And I don't think that we talk a lot about this, and it is also a part of how our society has become. And, I'm going to pick on America because this is where I live and it's what I see. But the thing is that we are an overindulgent society. So much that, as I've said often in Timothy, that individuals do not want to listen to sound doctrine. They don't want to listen to sound teaching. And it's enticing. So much so that I seen a story today. It was really interesting. There is a current lawsuit against a rapper, and I forgot what state, and probably it's best that I don't list that state. But anyway, you could probably find this fairly easy with just a few quick keyword searches. But anyway, the lawsuit is against Lyft. And this, if you're not familiar what Lyft is, it is a company that is like Uber, and it's a ride-sharing program. So anyway, what it is this individual orders a Lyft, and they come and the individual orders, so they have different grades. So you have like an XL, and then you have like the small compact cars. So if you order an XL, that would be something like getting a Suburban or a larger vehicle, but they cost you more. And usually if you get an XL, that's usually whenever it's a group of people. Well, anyway, this individual gets a Lyft, and they are a large person. And what I mean by large is this person is around 500 pounds. And this is not an XL vehicle. It is a sedan, but it's not, by any means something like a SUV or anything like that. This is a sedan style car. Anyway, they're denied. They're denied because they just are what the driver believes to be too large to fit into his vehicle. And if you know anything about these ride-sharing programs, bottom line is that's a person's personal vehicle, and they incur all the risk and to do this, And so anyway, he denies the ride to this larger person. And I'm sorry if this strikes a nerve with anybody, but the thing is I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you that we have to get out of this codependency style relationship that everybody is under, where they just don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear what they want to hear, and they don't want to try to better themselves because they just want to sit and do their own thing, even though if it's contrary to common sense. And that's what's happening here is this person is suing, and I'm talking it's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit because of the, because they feel they were discriminated against. And I also had a similar discussion with a friend about just something as simple as being forced to do something because it's considered discrimination contrary to your belief system. And, we've got to understand something with that, is that there are basic rights. And just because you own and operate a business does not mean that you should have to be forced to do something that is against your values. And I know it's sticky, and I get it, and people can abuse it. The example that this person had used was, well, what's to stop that from happening? And then say, all right, because of your race, you're not allowed in my establishment, which is taking it to the exact absolute extremes. We can do that in every situation, and nothing ever will get done. But whenever it comes to people's basic rights, such as religion, and not agreeing with a practice, and not agreeing with performing a task that is going to be into that practice, it gets sticky. But where do we lie? You're allowed to deny people access if you do not have shirts or shoes on to an establishment. You're allowed to do that. What's the difference? All right, so it's a dress code. Like I said, there's millions of ways to slice this. And yes, it's sticky. But the bottom line is what we do is we cater to the 1% craziness that's out there. And it's in all directions. And this is one of them, where a person cannot fit into this vehicle. The driver believes that it is going to damage their vehicle. And the company is getting sued over this whenever this person is blatantly overweight. I'm sorry. It is just how it is. If you're a big person, you're a big person. Is this going to get into where you start suing airlines because the seats aren't big enough? And you have to pay for an extra seat to fit in? I mean, there's got to be a line here. And this is just one of many. But the bottom line is all of it relates to one principle, which is gluttony. Getting overweight. Everybody's looking for the shortcut. We're looking for all these things that we can suck out of us or poke in us to make the weight go away because we don't want to have the discipline. And this is exactly what the Bible is talking about, is in the end days, we will be undisciplined people. And we are. And all of us are to a degree. I included. Man, there for a while, I had a Amazon problem, which I was overspending on stupid crap. And that seems minor, but that's just one aspect of my life on the many that I have to constantly put myself in check and go, hey, this is a problem I need to address. The problem is nobody's thinking critically. And the thing about it is it's destructive. One of the things that we do not, and I just did this on obesity a little, because it is a health problem. And one of the things that I found is the United States is 10th in the world for obesity. 10th in the world. And that's pretty crazy because I didn't realize there's as many countries as there is. It's actually kind of daunting when you look at this and you're going, wow. And, you would think it would be because we are a very wealthy country, but the reality of it is that's not exactly the the linchpin for that, because ahead of us at number 8 in this is Samoa, which is a low to middle income country. At number 6 is Tonga. I have no clue where it's at. Don't ask me. I'm just reading off of this. And they're upper middle income. United States is 10th at high income. Ahead of us is French Polynesia, which is high income as well. And then you have Samoa at 8. Number 1 is American Samoa, which I didn't know that there was a Samoa and American in Samoa, but there again, that's number 1 and it's high income. But in the top 10, it is a mix of income groups and that vary. So I find that obesity it's just something for the sake of this discussion to focus on, and it's something we all have in common. We all have food in common, and we all can do it. And even myself, I have to put myself in check because even me, I'm overweight. By the American standards, I'm overweight. So, hey, without going into details, there's another thing that I got to work on myself is food. I've got to work on that control. But the thing is I also have noticed that whenever we have other things, sin strings together and they're all destructive on our bodies. For me, anger. Like if I get overly angry about something, guess what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to go get something to eat. I'm trying to sit there and do that. Also, sometimes I'm a little lazy. What do you do whenever you're being lazy? You tend to eat more. When you're active, you notice it. You're too busy. So being a little lazy ties into that too. All is slothful, gluttony, sloth. Sloth is another term for lazy. And the Bible talks about all of this stuff. And I think that if we would look in that biblical lens, then we would maybe have a better idea of how to treat ourselves. So one of the things that is good in here is if we look in Proverbs, it says, be not among, and it's Proverbs 23, 20 through 21, sorry. Be not among drunkards or among gluttonous eaters of meat. For the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty and slumber with clothes them with rags. So, and Americans, listen to this, because this is true. We're getting lazier. You know what happens whenever you get lazy? Your defenses go down. Guess what? In a country situation, your military is important. Whether you like violence or not, it doesn't matter because the other countries may have different ideas on social norms. Let's just take it, for instance, whenever we get into Israel and Muslim countries. All right. So ladies, if you're listening, you like to do your hair and you like to look pretty and you like to adorn yourselves with jewelry and all this. Guess what? If you live in a Muslim country, you got to have your head covered for one. And you have to be fully clothed down to your ankles. So, hey, that you feel like it's your personal right to look however you want. Guess what? You get into a different country system. It's called, I think it's called Sharia law. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but you can't dress how you want. Say we had an invading country that was their national language or national religion was Muslim. Try making fun of a Muslim religion, you'll get killed. See, Christians take it on the chin all the time. Christians are getting made fun of in media. They're getting made fun of on social media. They're getting persecuted. But guess what? We have some standards, but you could get into it a lot worse. Say you get into a socialist, communist style country. All right. We're not in one. Despite what you think, we're not. It's a whole lot worse out in the world. Say you get into something like North Korea. Guess what? You can't even do your hair you want to. If you look at anything in North Korea, you have a guideline of what haircuts you can have. So here is control down to what you can do with your hair. The thing about Muslim style countries, the women can still do anything they want with their hair. They just have to cover it in public because they believe that a woman's beauty should only be displayed to her husband. Very high emphasis on marriage. But that's not always so. There's a lot more control to be had out there. It really gripes me a lot of times when people go and they spit on the flag because, to be honest, you have so many more rights than you realize and how much it's come along. It's not perfect, but it's come a long way. And we take it for granted. We think of things that we talk about things that has happened in the past as if it's currently happening now, not recognizing the progress, just want to dwell on the past. And then you punish people for it. We punish different people who think indifferently. And I'm absolutely disgusted with the social media that I see right now between Democrats and Republicans. It's absolutely stupid. That's politics. It's not your personal relationships. People should be able to say what they feel and not feel like they're just going to get pummeled. Because you could say something very, very politely, and guess what? Everybody's just jumping on them in nasty ways. And it gets worse whenever you get it from Hollywood. Hollywood is absolutely disgusting. Most celebrities are not all that great. My wife loves Jennifer Lopez. Guess what? I hear so much crap about that gal on how she treats people that are considered first. I would say that they're hospitality style people, like airline attendants and waiters and waitresses. It's not good. It's not good. Some people play really good roles on TV, and that is not who they are on the inside. And it varies. I've seen the guy, can't think of his name right off the top of my head, that plays Hercules that's with the Xena, Kevin Sobro. He's essentially been blacklisted by Hollywood just because he's a Christian. And he's been blacklisted because he has Republican values. All right? I'm not saying Democratic values are bad. I think that most of the time, Republicans and Democrats are more alike than we think. It's just those small things. Like, for instance, gun rights. A lot of people have skewed ideas on gun rights. That's okay. You don't have to own a gun. And there maybe you take somebody like a Democrat who's had issues with gun violence in that, and that's given them some real strong feelings about gun violence because it has affected them. They've seen the ugly side of gun rights. So we have to remember, people come from where they are and the situation they're in, their life experiences, and they bring that to the table, and that's not a bad thing. But we treat it like it is. We sure make them feel bad if they have an opposing opinion without walking a mile in their shoes. It's very, very hard. And we have to worry about this. But this is a very telling proverb because it can affect the stability of the environment of what's being glutton. And it's happening in Missouri and into our country. We're giving in to so much stuff. Readiness is a big part of the military. I'm sorry if it offends you, but the trans issue with the military, readiness, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to go. You got to get on it and you got to go. There's no time to sit there and wait. But people abuse things. People get into the military to get the military benefits to perform the surgeries that they want. And they do it on the government dime. Well, guess what? That's a very intense surgery. If you're a man becoming a woman, guess what? It's not going to be roses. Your body's going to have to adjust to all that. You're going to have energy issues. You're going to have hormonal issues because your body is being changed from the way it was actually designed out the womb. Can we agree on that? You're going through a change and your body's not used to it, and there's going to be consequences. It's just like anything. If you go and you're, for instance, on eating, and you go to a keto diet of sorts and you drop out all of the carbs, your body goes through a change. It's called keto flu. After the carbs are completely drained out of your body, and your body is learning to work on fat, you get physically sick. And that's just in a diet change. Can you think of what it's going to do to your body when you change your entire anatomy? So you get into the military, you get this, and guess what? Now you're on the shelf while this is going on. That is against readiness. You got to be ready to go to war. That is what self-defense is. And trust me, I know, because I teach this with my kids. You got to be ready all the time. It's not that you have to live in a constant state of anxiety that you're going to get attacked, but you've got to be ready to move. You've got to be ready to react. You've got to be able to flip your mind in the right mindset to fight. And it's got to be a switch. You have to develop the switch from emotional to focused. You got to take the emotion out of it. And that can't happen with all of this. Like it or not, it's just the truth. Sometimes people don't like it, but sometimes you need to be called fat. Fat is fat. You're overweight, and if you're happy with it, great, own it. But the bottom line is, don't whine about it. Because we know that it is well documented that there are health issues with being overweight, especially morbidly overweight. And don't punish people. Don't punish people. You know, if you invited somebody into your house, would you want them tearing it up? Would you want somebody you didn't know come in and throw a party in your house? Well, think about that. If you have certain furniture, it's not going to carry certain weight loads, and that's just how it is. We have to start pulling our pants up and putting our big boy pants on or our big girl pants on and start owning up to our situation. And don't get offended if it's the truth. You know, it's you got to start treating yourself with better ideas. Even there's a second proverb that says, "And put a knife to your throat if you are given to appetite." Does it mean this literally? No. And actually, I'm going to do an episode on about one of the other ways that Jesus is talking about entering into heaven and things that cause us to sin. Because this does not mean literally put a knife to your throat. It's saying that if you don't get a check on your eating, it is can be a death sentence. It's what it's saying. And I want to wrap up by this. 1 Corinthians 3:16 through 17. Everybody put your ears on. Put your ears on. Don't you know that you are God's temple, that God's Spirit dwells in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him. For God's temple is holy, and you are that temple. So if we give in to all these things, circling back to the story that I was talking, it leads down a slippery road. So we talk about the priest, a man of God, given his life to the cloth, to the papacy, to serve and preach God's word. That's what they've sworn to do. And it's showing that one sin leads to another sin leads to. Why? Because our guard gets down. We have to be on guard against sin. It's always going to try to creep in. And the thing is your body is God's temple. In other words, you're an example to other people, whether you like it or not. You preach through your actions. I have known many a person that is terrible with public speaking, but yet how they live their life without words inspires many. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to be. Whenever we let sin cover us all up, it prevents us from shining. And it also prevents us from being who we're meant to be. Think about this. I've been picking on Eden. Say that you in particularly in the story about the Uber, something clicked with this person. They said that, they go to the gym and this is a big person. They're 500 pounds and they're thinking they can do that. They're thinking they can get on that treadmill and run like an Olympic runner. They get on there and they're like, man, I can't do that. But in my mind, I can do that. But I can't do that. My body won't let me. Do you want to be a person that your body won't let you do it? Do you want to be a person that you want to let sin hold you back from being who you're supposed to be? I think not. I honestly think not. I think that you want to be who you want to be, and you don't want anything to prevent you from being who you want to be. But the bottom line is how many people do you know that says, hey, I want to be a meth addict? Hey, I want to be a complete slobbering drunk. Hey, you know what? I want to be so fat. I'm sorry. I want to be so fat that I don't want to be able to do anything but sit on the couch. I don't want to go and do fun things. Are you that person? Tell me honestly. Ask yourself, are you that person? Are you that person that says, you know what? I'm happy with myself. I am 600 pounds and I'm happy. I'm doing 5 hits a day of meth and I'm happy. Hey, I'm going through 2 handled fifths or whatever it is, the size of alcohol that you can get that actually has a handle on it so you can hold it. Do you honestly say that that's the person that you want to be? Well, if you want to be somebody different, it takes work. And that, the Bible's telling us, you got to find discipline. Whether you like it or not, God says he does not like undisciplined, but he glorifies the disciplined. You have to get your mind right. Any religion that tells you to do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, tell me, is that really how it should be? Or should you have some discipline? You've got to read between the lines. I say this all the time. The Bible tells us how to live good. It's not because you're a bad person. It's giving you guardrails so that you can become a better person. Somewhere down along the line, this person who overeats and wants to say they feel good about themselves, but I know because I am that person. I know that I don't deep down feel as good about myself as I could if I could slim down. And in fact, I'm trying to figure that out myself. It's not that I'm incapacitated, but I'm trying to figure that out because I could be living a better life if I could slim down a little more. I could be, in successful people, you can read this. This isn't biblical at all, but you read guidelines for being successful in life. You will see one of the things is a disciplined person. It's not just a biblical culture. It is a business culture that disciplined people tend to be more successful. They show discipline in their life. They get up, they work out, or they get up and they have some form of discipline that they follow to keep their mind right, to keep their mind focused. Not everybody can be a skinny person, or not everybody has the genetics to be a buff guy, but we all can work towards better control of what we do, how we handle ourselves. You can't control the world coming at you, really, but you can control how you react to it. And I say these things because one day I'll be gone. But I'm hoping that I leave some kind of nugget that helps individuals live a better life. And I'm older, so I've seen a lot. I've been before social media. I lived before that. So I can tell you what that world was like, and I can tell you how it's changed since this. We need to get our minds right. We need to stop looking at influencers and thinking that they're going to give us the keys to this, that, or the other, because they're not. They're using filters. They're lying to you for their business. The Bible has no skin in the game. You can say that the church is all about money, but the Bible isn't. There are churches that are bad. There are churches that are good. But here's the thing, is the Bible is just for you. It's not the Bible's fault. It's not God's fault. It's not Jesus's fault that somebody is perverting the word for gain, for financial gain. That is the number one problem that I see and hear from people that I talk to in common speaking. And it's not, the Bible's not political. It's conservative. It just so happens that Republicans line up with biblical values. But the Bible was before politics. The Bible was before the United States of America's system of government. So take it out. Take the emotion out. Read it for what it is. And get your nose in it, because it will change your life. This is one promise that I can make to you, is that becoming a Christian, reading the Bible, and getting your mind right will change your life, because I've seen it over and over and over again. I've seen people that have been under financial depression, people that have been addicted to drugs, alcohol, people that have been unhappy in some way, shape, or form in their life, and they finally commit, they finally get right with God, they finally get off their butts and get some discipline in their life, and guess what? Those people are happy. And some of them are a little overweight. Some of them are really overweight. Some of them have debilitating illnesses and can't do everything and can't control it. Weight is also a medical problem. So I am not saying that if you're fat, there isn't a reason. There could be. I've known people with thyroid issues. They can't control it and the medicine doesn't help. I get it. But my point is you can control your mind. You can do everything that you can to get your mind right and do what's within the means of your body. It's not perfect, but it will lead you. It will lead you. I've seen a woman that has debilitating, can't move, can't feed herself, can't walk, rheumatoid arthritis. And she is happy. She's not, it didn't take the pain away. It didn't make the pain go away. She's happy because she's right with God, because she gave it all to God and she's just living for the moment. And then I've seen the other side of the coin in my own family with rheumatoid arthritis, where they're bitter, angry, and wish everybody could do everything for them because they're angry at their condition and nobody can help them, but they haven't got their mind right to deal with that condition. Get your mind right. The Bible will help you do that, but you got to surrender to God. You've got to get God in your life. And I guarantee it, your life will be better. You'll avoid calamities that add problems to your life. Sorry, folks, a little passionate today about it because I see all this stuff and it absolutely disgusts me. Of a man who preaches discipline and sees the change in my students to see how the world is and how undisciplined and how uncaring it is. We cater to the rich. We forget about the poor. You know what? In God's eyes, rich or poor don't matter. Think about that one. Whenever you're approaching your mortality and you think that all this stuff is going to impress God. Anyway, I love you all. Have a great week.